Hi everyone, it's Veronica from Blue Star Crochet. Welcome to another stitch tutorial. Today I'm going to be teaching you this beautiful open shell stitch. I'm using this shell stitch for a summer top that I'm designing, so I thought it would be really handy if you can learn the stitch with me before the pattern comes out, so you're going to be ready once it's out to make your very own summer top. Okay, so this shell stitch works on multiples of 5 plus 2. Okay, so you need 5 stitches for this shell to work, and then obviously the stitches either end to fix the shells. Okay, so for the swatch, to teach you the stitch, I'm going to chain 12. Okay, so that's multiples of 5. Plus 2. Okay, so I've got chain of 12 stitches here. So we're going to start working into the second chain from the hook, and I'm going to place 1 single crochet into that stitch. Okay, then I'm going to place another single crochet into the next stitch like this. Then I'm going to chain 3, so 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to miss 2 chain stitches on the foundation chain, and I'm going to work 1 single crochet into the next chain. Okay, 1 single crochet into the next chain, and another single crochet into the next chain. So I've got a group of 3 single crochet. Then I'm going to chain 3 again, 1, 2, 3, and on the foundation chain I'm going to miss 2 stitches, and I'm going to finish the row with 1 single crochet in the next chain and 1 single crochet into the very last chain like this. Okay, so this is our foundation chain with the first row. Okay, so to start the next row, and this is the row where we're going to be creating the shells, this is going to be the right side. Okay, so that's the difference in this pattern. The first row you work is the wrong side of your work. Okay, so we're going to turn, and on row 2 we're going to create the shells, and obviously the shells are going to face the right way, so this is going to be the right side of your work. Okay, so I'm going to chain 1 to start row 2, and I'm going to work 1 single crochet into the stitch at the bottom of the chain 1, because the chain 1 doesn't count as a stitch throughout this pattern. So I'm going to work 1 single crochet into the first stitch. Okay, then I'm going to miss the next single crochet. We're not going to worry about that one, which brings us onto the 3 chain space here. And to create the shell, I'm going to work 5 double crochets into that 3 chain space. Okay, so that's first double crochet, second, number 3, number 4, and number 5. Okay, so that's the 5 double crochet worked into the 3 chain space, which brings us onto the group of 3 single crochets. So we're going to miss the first one and place 1 single crochet into the next one like this, to kind of fix the shell so we can nicely fan out. Then we're going to skip the next single crochet, which brings us onto another 3 chain space, and as you might have guessed, we're going to place another 5 double crochets into that 3 chain space. Okay, like this, and that brings us on to the last 2 single crochet. So we're going to miss the one and finish off row 2 with 1 single crochet into the very last single crochet. Okay, so this is row 1 and row 2. Row 3 starts slightly differently, so we're going to start row 3. For that, I'm going to chain 3. Now this chain 3 counts as 1/2 double crochet and chain 1 space. Okay, so 3 chain to start row 3, which counts as 1/2 double crochet and 1 chain space, which brings me onto the shell of 5 double crochets. I'm going to miss the first double crochet and I'm going to work into the next one, and I'm going to work 1 single crochet. I'm going to work 1 single crochet in the next one and 1 more single crochet into the next double crochet. Okay, so this is what the start of row 3 looks like. Then I'm going to chain 3 and I'm going to miss the last double crochet, miss the single crochet, miss another double crochet from the second shell, and I'm going to work into the next double crochet. Okay, so we work the 3 single crochet across this shell, then I'm going to miss the last double crochet, miss the single crochet, which brings us on to the next shell, and I'm going to miss the first double crochet of that shell, and now work 3 single crochet across the next 3 stitches of the second shell, just as we did on the first one. Okay, then we're going to miss the last double crochet, which brings us onto the last stitch of the row, which is the single crochet, and I'm going to chain 1 and work 1/2 double crochet into the last stitch. This is to match the other end of the row. Okay, and to start row 4, we're going to work another row of the shells, but this time, as you can see, we've only got the 1 3 chain space in the middle where we're going to place a full 5 double crochet shell. So what we need to do is place half of shell into this space and the other half of the shell in this space. Okay, so we're going to do it by starting row 4 with chain 3. Now this chain 3 counts as the first double crochet. Okay, then we're going to place 2 double crochets into this 1 chain space we created at the end of the previous row. So I'm going to work 1 and 2, so that's 2 double crochets there, and together it's a group of 3 double crochets, which counts as the half of the shell. Okay, then it brings us onto the group of 3 single crochets again, so I'm going to miss the first one and place 1 single crochet into the middle one, skip the next single crochet, and that brings us onto this 3 chain space, and into this 3 chain space we're going to place 5 double crochets, which is going to create the shell. Okay, and that brings me onto the group of these 3 single crochets, and I'm going to place 1 single crochet into the middle one, gonna skip the next single crochet, which brings us onto this beginning 3 chain from previous row, and as I said to you, it counts as 1/2 double crochet and 1 chain space. So we're going to place 2 double crochet into that chain space, okay, just to mirror the other side, and then the very last double crochet we're going to work into second chain of the beginning 3 chain, So as we're working into the top of the half double crochet, like this. Okay, so as you can see, we created one full shell and 2 half shells either side. Okay, so to start the next row, we're going to chain 1. Now this chain 1 doesn't count as a stitch, so I'm going to place 1 single crochet into the first stitch at the bottom of 1 chain, 1 single crochet into the next one. Okay, then we're going to chain 3, and we're going to miss the double crochet, miss the single crochet, miss the first double crochet of the shell, and place 1 single crochet in the next stitch, and 1 single crochet in the next one, and 1 more single crochet in the next one. Then we're going to chain 3 again, which brings us onto this other half shell. So I'm going to skip the first double crochet and work 1 single crochet in the next double crochet, and we've got the beginning 3 chain stitch from previous row, and I'm going to place 1 single crochet into the top of the beginning 3 chain from previous row. Okay, so this is how you work the shells, and basically then you just turn and you're going to repeat row 2. Okay, so you've got exactly the same row as the very first row we worked into the foundation chain. So the next repeat is going to be row 2, row 3, row 4. Okay, and that's going to become your repeat that you're going to repeat as many times as you need to reach the required length of your project. Okay, so you're going to repeat row 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, as many times as you need to reach the length of your project. So as you can see, I have been busy. This is the front panel. I've already got the back panel done, so we can move on with the tutorial, and I'm going to show you how to create a beautiful summer top. Hey guys, so we have come to the point where the front panel of the summer tee needs to be split into 3 parts. So we're going to work the right shoulder, then we're going to leave some shells out which are going to create the neckline, and then we're going to work the left shoulder. Okay, so this is where we split the main row into the neckline. So if you check out the written pattern, it will give you all the instructions on which row you need to be on and how many shells are going to create your neckline. So I'm making size medium. I have 15 shells across. So I'm going to split it by 4.5 shells, four and a half shells for right shoulder. Then I'm going to skip 6 of these shells for the neckline, and I'm going to work these last 4.5 shells again as the left shoulder. Okay, so I'm going to show you how we're going to do that. Okay, so as I said, you will need to check out the written pattern for which row and how many shells you're going to need to create your neckline. But you should have a row starting with the half shell. Okay, so even if you're adjusting the length, because obviously you can just add more rows if you wanted the top to be a bit longer. So make sure that you're on the row that has got the half shell at the end. Okay, so I'm going to chain 1, and I'm just going to start the row as usual by working 2 single crochet. I'm going to chain 3 and then work the 3 single crochet across the shell. So this is just working in the established pattern as you have been doing throughout the panel. Okay, and as I said, you will need to check the written pattern, but for my medium size I'm going to use 4 full shells and this half shell at the end for my right shoulder. Okay, so here we are, that's 3 shells. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, and this half here. So I'm going to come to the 4th shell, and this is where the pattern slightly changes. This is where we're going to make the adjustment. So I'm going to chain 3 to bridge across to the next shell, and this is the last shell that's going to be on the edge of the right shoulder. So normally you would work 3 single crochet into these stitches, but instead I'm gonna still skip the 1 double crochet here, and I'm gonna work 1 single crochet. Okay, normally you would work 2nd and 3rd single crochet, but because we need to match the other edge, which has started with 2 single crochet, we've already got 1 here, so I'm gonna work single crochet these 2 stitches together. Okay, so insert your hook, pull up a loop, insert your hook into the next stitch and pull up a loop, and we're going to pull through all 3 loops on a hook. Okay, and now basically you're just going to carry on in the established pattern because you've got 2 single crochet on both sides. So we're going to simply turn our work like this. Where's my yarn? Here it is. Okay, so this is where we're at, and as you can see, I'm leaving the rest of the shells. Don't worry about them for now because we're splitting for the neckline. Okay, so I'm going to start the next row by chain 1 single crochet in the same stitch, miss the single crochet, which brings us onto this 3 chain space, and I'm going to place 5 double crochet into that chain space. And again place 1 single crochet into the middle single crochet there. Okay, so this is how you, like I said, then you just carry on working in the established pattern. I mean, by now you should have, you sort of know the pattern anyway. So you just work to the end of the row, then turn again and just carry on as normal in the established pattern for the right shoulder here, and this is where your neckline is going to be, and we're going to do the same on the other side, and I'll show you how. So in this part we're going to finish off each of our panels with the very last row, whether you're on the front or back panel. This is how we do it. So on the row, my last row was the one where we finish with 2 single crochet, so that's the very last row, and then we've got these 3 chain spaces. So we're going to finish off the top of the front or back panel. They should both be the same. So I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to place 1 single crochet in each of the next 2 single crochets on the edge, which then brings me onto this 3 chain space. And I'm going to work 2 single crochet into that 3 chain space. That then brings me onto this group of 3 single crochets here, and I'm just going to simply work 1 single crochet in each of the next 3 single crochet. and again 3 chain space, so we're going to work 2 single crochet into that chain space. And that's basically how you work the very last row on any of the panels, whether you're working on the front or back panel. This is how we're going to do it. Okay, and I'm on the last 3 chain space and the very last 2 single crochet stitches, and this is it. This is basically how we finish off the top of each of the panel, and this is where we're now gonna attach the front to the back panel. So you've got a nice row of single crochets and you can attach the front to the back. So as you can see, I have finished the right shoulder on my front panel. You will need to check the written pattern for the sizes, for the different sizes, depending on which one you're making. But I have worked across the 4.5 shelves. Okay, so this is my right shoulder, worked across 4.5 shelves. Now we're going to go across to the other side, and for the neckline I'm going to skip 6 of these shelves. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so that's the 6 shells in the middle that we're just going to leave unworked, because these are going to create the neckline. We're going to tidy up the neckline at the end. Okay, so that brings me onto these last 4.5 shells on the other side. Okay, so we're going to basically repeat exactly the same thing that we did on the right shoulder. We're going to do it for the left shoulder. Okay, so I've got the 4.5 shells here, so I'm going to this is the front, this is the right side. So to carry on with the chain 3 space in the single crochet row here, we're obviously going to need to work on the wrong side. Okay, so I'm going to flip this panel over like this. So this is the right shoulder here. We're looking on the wrong side, and as I said, we're going to skip these 6 shells in the middle, and I'm going to find the last 4.5 shells. So that's the half, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I'm going to go and work the left shoulder. Okay, so if you remember, at the end of the right shoulder we finished off the row with 1 single crochet, and then we single crochet these 2 stitches together. So we're going to basically replicate exactly the same group of stitches, but we need to do it on this side. Okay, so you've got the 5 double crochet shell, okay, the 4th one on that side. So we've got the 5 double crochet stitches here. I'm going to miss the first double crochet here, and I'm going to join my yarn into the next one here. Okay, so let me rejoin my yarn into that specified double crochet. Okay, whatever method you use to join your yarn, that's just what I'm doing. Okay, so we joined the yarn into the second double crochet, and because we finished on this side with single crochet 2 together, that's exactly what we're going to do now. Okay, so I'm going to single crochet these 2 stitches together. So insert your hook into the first one, into the second one, and then pull through all 3 loops. So that's my first single crochet here. Then I'm going to place single crochet into the next double crochet here. Okay, and that's your 2 single crochet stitches that we're gonna start the row with. Then I'm gonna chain 3 and go on to the next shell, skip the first double crochet and work 1 single crochet in each of the next 3 double crochets across the shell. Again, chain 3 and go across the next shell. This is basically working in the established pattern as you have been working for the front and the back panels. I just wanted to show you how to kind of split for the neckline and how to create the right and the left shoulder. Okay, and that's the last half shell that we're gonna, okay, so this is how your next row should look like. And then again, we're going to turn, and like I said, you just carry on working in the established pattern as you have been for the front and the back panels, and you work up as many rows as the pattern calls for, or if you're adjusting the pattern to a custom fit, then you just carry on and adjust it. Okay, so this is your right shoulder here, sorry, this is the left shoulder. Okay, and like I said, the 6 shells in the middle, they just remain unworked. Don't worry about those for now. We will work on those a bit later when we come to finish off the neckline. Okay, so this is now your part you're going to be working on to create the left shoulder. Okay, in this part of the tutorial, I'm going to show you how to work around the neck opening of this summer top. So as you can see, I've got the front panel and the back panel now finished. I have attached those 2 panels together at the shoulder seam. So that's the wrong side of the seam. I have simply used a single crochet to work the front and the back panel together at the shoulder seams. That's the other side. I haven't seamed the sides yet. I just want to finish off this neckline and finish off the tutorial. So as you're looking at the top, we've got the 2 sides. So if you had it on, that's your right shoulder, that's your left shoulder. Okay, I'm gonna be working on the right side of the summer top. So we're going to start working across the back panel up here, because that's the easiest part, because you have got a nice stitches, just a straightforward single crochet stitches there. So I'm going to turn this top over, and I'm going to join yarn in the first stitch that is not used up for the shoulder seam. So that's going to be this stitch here, and I'm going to grab my yarn and I'm just going to join it in. And then I'm going to simply work 1 single crochet into each stitch all the way across the back. So this is pretty simple start into the neckline, and I'm going to basically work all the way across the back panel, the opening, the neck opening of the back panel, and I'll just meet you here in the last stitch. So I have come to the end of the back panel, and we're going to now work, let me just spin it, we're going to now work down the neckline opening. So basically we split the front panel, and this is the side, the shoulder. So we're going to be working now down this edge of the front panel, and we're going to be working around the end stitches of each row, because kind of each row finishes on a different stitch. There is just a simple rule to remember. If the row ends with single crochet, we're going to place 1 single crochet around the stitch. Then we've got rows that finish with double crochet, so we're going to work 3 single crochet around the very last stitch, and then we've got some rows that finish with the half double crochet here, so we're going to place 2 single crochet around the half double crochet stitch. So we're going to place 1 for single crochet, 2 for half double crochet, and 3 for double crochet. Okay, so that's just a simple rule to remember. So if you need to, you can just kind of look at the end stitch of each row, kind of facing the correct way, so you can work out what the stitch is. So the very last row I did here, that's a single crochet, so I'm going to place 1 single crochet around that stitch. Next row was single crochet also, so that's another single crochet. Then that brings me onto this large stitch here, which is a double crochet, so I'm going to place 3 single crochet around the end stitch of that row. Now that brings me onto the half double crochet, so I'm going to place 2 stitches into there. Then next one is a single crochet, so that's at 1 stitch. Next stitch we've got single crochet again. Then that brings me again onto this large tall stitch, which is a double crochet, so I'm going to place 3 single crochet around that stitch. Next one is the half double crochet, so that's 2 stitches, and that brings me onto the last end stitch, which is a single crochet, so I'm going to place 1 stitch just there. Okay, so that's basically how you work across the end stitches of the front panel. If I just here we go. So this is basically what we've just done, worked down the side, working around the end stitches of each row. Now that brings us on to the top of the shell stitches here. So we're now going to work across the front here. We're going to continue working across the front of the neckline. So we're going to kind of create a straight edge across the tops of the shells. So when we split the neckline, we have left this double crochet of this shell unworked. So I'm going to place 1 single crochet into that double crochet. Next stitch we've got is the single crochet, so we've got the 5 double crochet shells with a single crochet between each of the shells. So I'm going to place a half double crochet into the single crochet. This is just to counteract the kind of dip in between the shells. And then I'm going to place 1 single crochet in each of the next 5 double crochets that create the shell, like this. And then that brings me onto the single crochet between the 2 shells, so I'm going to place 1 half double crochet into the single crochet just to counteract the dip between the shells. And then you simply repeat this process of working 1 single crochet into each double crochet, and when you get to the single crochet stitch, we're going to simply place a half double crochet into the single crochet. So I will continue working across the front, and I will meet you back when I reach the other side of the neckline. So I have come across the front of the neckline, and as you can see, by placing the half double crochet into the single crochet stitches, you can see that it kind of evened out the shell texture. So now we're going to work across the other side of the neckline, and basically the same principle applies as to the other side. So I'm going to work 1 single crochet around single crochet, 2 double crochet around half double crochet, and 3 single crochet around double crochet. Okay, so we've got the first single crochet here, so I'm going to go 1 single crochet, another single crochet, then that brings me onto half double crochet, so we've got 2 stitches in there, and this is a double crochet, so I need to place 3 single crochet around that stitch. Then we've got it gets a bit confusing sometimes, but just take a moment to have a good look and think what stitch you're kind of looking at. Half double. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, as long as you evenly space out the stitches and you have got same amount of stitches on both sides of the neckline, I wouldn't get kind of too worried about the stitches you place in there. Okay, so here we are, and I'm going to slip stitch to the first single crochet and join it into the round. So that's the first round around the neckline finish there. Okay, so we've done the first round of the neckline. Now the choice is yours here to make a decision whether you want to do the ribbed neckline or whether you would just like to work another round of single crochet and have the neckline quite open and quite summery. I'm gonna show you how to work the single crochet ribbed neckline. Here we go. So I've simply slip stitched into the first single crochet here of the round. Now we're going to work the single crochet mock ribbon. So we're going to chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to start working into the second chain from the hook, and I'm going to work 1 single crochet in each of the chain stitches just made. 3, 4 and 5, so you should have 5 single crochets like this. So it's kind of like a 90-degree angle you're going to be working at. And now I'm going to slip stitch into the same stitch at the bottom of the chain like this, just to fix it in position. Then I'm going to slip stitch into the next stitch on the main body, and now we're going to turn and we're going to work back across these single crochets, and I'm going to work 1 single crochet through back loop only into the next 4 stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and for the last stitch I like to do just a standard single crochet, because what I find is that if you do the last stitch, oh, I can't get it through. If you do the last stitch just through the back loop only, I find that the neckline kind of stretches a bit too much, and over time with wearing it, it will probably stretch out a bit too much. Okay, so you do 4 single crochet through back loop only, and the very last one on the top edge I just do as a standard single crochet. Okay, so now I'm going to turn again, and I'm going to chain 1 to start another row, but this chain 1 doesn't count as a stitch, and I'm going to start the row with a full single crochet. Okay, so if you remember that on the top edge I always place a single crochet so the neckline doesn't stretch as bad. And then I'm going to do 4 single crochet through back loop only, three and 4. The last one's always a little bit tricky to pick up. There we go, 4. And then I'm going to find my next stitch on the main body and slip stitch, and again slip stitch into the next one and turn like this. And then we're going to go again, chain 1 to start the row, that doesn't count as a stitch, and I'm going to work 4 single crochets through back loop only, and the last stitch I'm just going to work a standard single crochet like this, so you can see the top of the neckline is a little more secure. Then we're going to turn again, and I'm going to start the next row with chain 1 and a full single crochet in the first stitch, and then 4 single crochet through back loop only, again this last one's always tucked away a little bit, that's the 4th one. And then look at the main body, main stitches, and I'm going to slip stitch into the next one and slip stitch into the next one, and then again turn and carry on working all the way around the neckline, and it will kind of nicely bring it in. Like I say, you can try it at this point, but it is rather open, so this will just create a little bit more of a neckline around your top. Right, as you can see, I have gone all the way around the neckline, and I've used up all the stitches to go all the way around, and now all that's left to do is to basically connect the last row with the first row of your neckline, and then the summer top will be finished. So you can either fasten off and leave a longer tail end and simply just sew these two together. I like to just crochet them together because it's easier and quicker. So we're going to crochet them together on the wrong side. So I've got the right side facing. So when you line up your first and your last row, we need to crochet them together on the wrong side. Okay, so I'm gonna turn them out inside out like this, and now I need to insert my hook into the first chain of, this is the underside of the starting chain, and I'm just gonna pull this loop through, twist it, pull it through, and we're just gonna simply crochet these stitches together to close off the first and the last round. So you can use single crochet, you can use slip stitch, whatever you find neater, whatever you want to do. Or like I said, you can even sew them together. Oh gosh, you can even use a needle. But I like to just quickly crochet them together like this. There we go. We're gonna fasten off. Oop. And here we go. So that's the neckline finished. And all I've got to do now is just sew the pesky ends in and sew up the sides. So to basically sew up the sides, what you want to do, obviously we need to leave some space for the armhole. So what you want to do is just either pop it on quickly and mark out how far down you want your armhole to be. I will put measurements into the pattern, but obviously this is totally up to you. If you like your armholes a bit looser, then obviously leave a bigger opening. If you want them a little bit sort of more closed up, so you can see kind of the side of your body through the gap, then sew it up a bit higher. But that's basically what you're gonna do. So you can either try it on and mark out where you need to sew up to. So you'll be sewing from the bottom of your top all the way up to say about here. This is probably where the armhole is going to come down to. And yeah, like I said, I'll put the measurements in a pattern if you wanted to just follow the standard sizing, but like I said, it's very easy to adjust. You can just pop it on and measure out whereabouts you want your armhole to come down to. For medium size, I would say it's about 20 centimeters from the top. So I would imagine it would probably be like down about here. I think that's probably going to be my armhole, because the yarn I'm using is quite stretchy, so we don't want the armhole stretching out of shape. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this video tutorial. This is quite a big one for the whole pattern, so let me know what you think in the comments below. If you've got any questions, drop them below and I'll answer them. And if you wanted to see more of these tutorials, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, give the videos a like or leave me a comment, and I hope to see you very soon. Thank you for watching.